Welcome, beautiful Sigma ladies. The most brilliant minds don't scream. They watch, wait, and strike when no one's looking. Ever met a woman who walks into a room and doesn't demand attention? Yet somehow, everyone ends up adjusting their posture. She doesn't speak first, she doesn't try to impress, and yet, by the end of the night, even the loudest person in the room feels a little smaller. That's not charisma, that's not luck, that's raw, untamed intelligence, Sigma style. Here's a fact that might rattle you. According to neuroscience studies, people who spend more time alone tend to have higher cognitive complexity and problem-solving abilities. Translation: those quiet women who ghost the group chat for weeks. They might just be running mental circles around everyone. This isn't your typical strong, independent woman narrative. That's child's play. What you're about to see is a deep dive into the intellectual mechanics of a woman who doesn't just think differently. She operates on an entirely different bandwidth. A Sigma female doesn't need to prove she's smart. She'll let the world underestimate her, and then she'll outmaneuver it while sipping tea and ignoring your texts. So buckle up, and maybe take notes, because by the end of this video, you'll realize you weren't dealing with a mystery. You were dealing with a mental force of nature. Let's get into the 12 reasons Sigma females are not just intelligent, but dangerously so. And no, being the quiet one in class was never about being shy. She was bored, let's be honest. Number 1, they operate with temporal intelligence. Most people make decisions based on how they feel in the moment. They chase comfort, attention, validation, whatever feels good right now. But Sigma females think in a completely different way. They don't just look at today, they're constantly thinking about what today leads to. Every choice, every habit, every person they allow into their space is filtered through one simple question: does this align with who I'm becoming? That's what sets them apart. Their intelligence isn't just about knowing facts or reading books. It's about knowing how time works and how to use it with surgical precision. Sigma females operate with what could be called temporal intelligence. It's the ability to project your mind into the future, scan possible outcomes, and make decisions that benefit your future self. Even if it means making sacrifices now, that's not common. Most people can't delay gratification. Most people can't say no to things that feel good but derail them. But Sigma females do it constantly, sometimes without even realizing how rare that is. This future-thinking mindset shows up everywhere. While others fall in love with potential, Sigma females look at long-term patterns. They don't just ask, is he charming? They ask, does he have a trajectory? When choosing friends, careers, or habits, they don't care about temporary highs. They care about compounding value. And because of that, their life tends to evolve in ways that seem almost unnatural to others. Quiet seasons of isolation are followed by sudden glow-ups, career jumps, or deep transformations. But those shifts didn't happen by luck. They were carefully engineered over time. This is why Sigma females often seem like they're 5 steps ahead. It's not magic. It's not arrogance. It's simply the result of a mind that's always stretching beyond now and building a life that most people won't understand until it's already too late. Number 2, they don't just decode, they precode. Most people wait for someone to speak before forming an opinion. Sigma females don't. By the time someone starts talking, she's already 10 layers deep into reading them. She's not guessing. She's picking up on micro-signals most people don't even know they're sending. The flicker in your eyes, the shift in your tone, how your energy reacts to silence. To her, it's not background noise, it's data. While others are busy reacting to what's being said, she's already processing what's not being said, and why. Sigma females don't just decode after the fact, they precode, meaning they instinctively know what someone is about to do, say, or reveal often before it happens. It's like watching an emotional trailer before the movie even starts. And no, this isn't some supernatural intuition. It's deeply refined pattern recognition. Years of observation, silence, and paying close attention to human behavior have trained her to read people like a psychological map. This is why Sigma females often come across as eerily perceptive or psychic. It's not magic. It's analysis at lightning speed. She notices inconsistencies between someone's words and their energy. She senses when someone's projecting confidence but leaking insecurity. She can feel a hidden agenda underneath a compliment, and she won't call it out. She'll just make a quiet note and watch what happens next. What makes this terrifyingly smart is that she doesn't need confrontation to gather the truth. She just watches. Most people think manipulation begins with words. For her, it ends there. She already clocked your motive before you even opened your mouth. That's why people who try to game her usually walk away confused or off balance. She didn't react, but she saw everything. It's not just emotional intelligence. It's preemptive social engineering. And it makes her incredibly difficult to deceive, control, or predict. Number 3, they play dumb to gather unfiltered data. Sigma females are masters of restraint, and one of their most underrated weapons is the ability to play dumb. Not because they lack intelligence, but because they know that most people expose themselves when they think they're the smartest one in the room. While others rush to correct, impress, or dominate, a Sigma female will sit back, smile subtly, and let you talk, and talk, and talk. The more you do, the more she learns, not just about what you say, but about how your mind works, what drives your ego, where your insecurities live. This tactic isn't manipulation, it's observation with purpose. When she plays unassuming, it disarms people. It lowers their defenses. Suddenly they feel safe showing off, over-explaining, oversharing. And while they're busy trying to prove themselves, she's scanning for inconsistencies, hidden motives, power dynamics, and emotional patterns. It's not passive, it's forensic. Every smile, every silence, every "oh really" is carefully calculated to gather unfiltered data that no one would give if they knew she was watching this closely. People often confuse this quietness with weakness, but it's the opposite. It takes a high level of self-mastery to suppress the need to be seen as smart, witty, or superior, especially when you know you could dominate the conversation. But Sigma females don't need that validation. They're not there to win the room. They're there to understand it. And that's a whole different level of intelligence. This is why people often feel read after talking to her, even if she said very little. There's something unsettling about realizing later that she didn't really reveal much about herself. But somehow, she now knows everything about you. That's not a coincidence. That's the silent brilliance of someone who knows that sometimes the smartest thing you can do is let everyone else think you're not even paying attention. Number 4, they have intellectual immunity to trends. Sigma females live in a world that constantly tries to tell people what to think, what to wear, who to like, and how to behave. But unlike the majority, they don't absorb trends, they analyze them. They observe what's popular not to copy it, but to understand what it reveals about the collective mindset. Their minds aren't shaped by the algorithm, they stand outside it, watching it spin. While most people are subconsciously downloading beliefs from TikTok threads, viral content, or recycled Twitter opinions, the Sigma female runs everything through her own mental firewall. She might scroll, she might listen, but she filters everything through her internal code. Just because it's popular doesn't mean it's logical. Just because everyone agrees doesn't mean it's true. She knows that trends are often driven by psychological manipulation, fear of exclusion, or mass distraction. And because she doesn't need to belong, she's not seduced by them. This is why she doesn't jump on every bandwagon. When everyone's suddenly obsessed with the next big thing, she pauses. She waits. She dissects the hype. She asks herself, who benefits from this trend? What's the deeper narrative being pushed? Is this authentic? Or is it just mass hypnosis with a pretty aesthetic? This level of detachment is a rare form of intelligence. It means she can consume information without being consumed by it. Her worldview isn't built on trending opinions. It's built on her own quiet, deliberate thinking. That's why she often seems out of sync with what's current. Not because she's unaware, but because she's unmoved. People may call her contrarian or aloof, but the truth is, her mind is just free. And in a world where mental independence is almost extinct, that kind of cognitive immunity is more than intelligence. It's intellectual rebellion. Number 5, they know when to be the ghost in the room. Most people believe intelligence is proven through performance, being visible, being vocal, taking up space. But Sigma females understand something deeper. Presence is a currency, and not every room deserves to spend it. Sometimes the smartest move isn't to say something or do something, it's to leave the room altogether. When a Sigma female removes herself, it's not random, it's intentional, it's a signal, a boundary, and a message all in one. Her absence isn't passive, it's precise. She understands that some environments feed on attention, conflict, or performance, and instead of participating, she disengages. She vanishes, not to escape, but to disrupt. And nothing confuses people more than someone who doesn't play the game, who simply walks away without warning or explanation. That's what makes this form of intelligence so powerful. It's completely unspoken. Most people try to force change through argument or dominance, but a Sigma female knows that sometimes the most effective protest is silence, distance, and withdrawal. It throws off dynamics. It breaks expectations. It forces people to sit with the emptiness she leaves behind. This ghost-like strategy also protects her mental clarity. When systems become toxic, when conversations become pointless, when people start running in emotional circles, she disappears. Not because she's afraid, but because she knows the cost of staying. She knows her energy is too valuable to be wasted on environments that demand her presence, but disrespect her essence. Her absence often speaks louder than anyone else's words. It stings, it lingers, it shifts power. People remember when she was there, but they feel it even more when she's not. That's the quiet genius of the Sigma female. She doesn't always need to act or argue to make an impact. Sometimes the smartest thing she does is disappear and let the silence do the talking. Number 6. They learn through observation, not just experience. Most people have to crash before they learn to slow down. They need to be betrayed before they learn to guard their heart. They have to touch the fire to believe it burns. But Sigma females, they learn by watching, not necessarily by doing. They don't need to personally break every bone to understand the anatomy of pain. They're masters at extracting insight from the sidelines. When a Sigma female observes someone self-destructing, she doesn't just gossip or judge, she studies. She watches patterns, traces cause and effect, and files the lesson away. And the most impressive part, she does it all quietly. While others are obsessed with telling their story, she's absorbing the unspoken truth behind the stories. The blind spots, the toxic cycles, the red flags everyone ignored. This is a different kind of intelligence, a hybrid of empathy and mental strategy. She can feel someone's emotional spiral, but instead of getting dragged into it, she steps back and asks, what's really happening here? She doesn't need to experience every failure firsthand to know how it works. She collects wisdom without the trauma, which saves her years of unnecessary recovery. This is why Sigma females often seem like they just know things. They weren't born with all the answers. They simply paid attention while everyone else was busy performing or pretending. And they don't just learn from friends and enemies. They study strangers. They notice how someone reacts under pressure, how people lie to themselves, how social masks crack under tension. Every interaction is a masterclass, and while others may see this as cold or detached, it's actually a survival skill. It's how they move so strategically. It's how they avoid repeating generational mistakes. It's how they become wise beyond their years. Because while the world burns with chaos and ego, Sigma females are somewhere in the corner, silently taking notes and preparing to do it all smarter. Number 7. They can rewire their emotional responses on command. Most people are ruled by their emotions. They get triggered, they spiral, and they react before they even understand what they're feeling. But Sigma females operate differently. They don't just feel emotions, they study them. And when something inside them starts to spiral, they don't drown in it, they intercept it. They interrupt the loop. This isn't about being cold or emotionally numb. It's the exact opposite. Sigma females are fully aware of what they feel, but they've trained themselves to step outside of the emotion long enough to ask, is this helpful right now? Is this real, or is this old programming? And in that tiny space between trigger and reaction, they make a different choice. That space, that pause, is where their genius lives. It's like they've hacked into their own nervous system. They recognize the patterns that used to hijack them. Anxiety, overthinking, emotional reactivity. And instead of letting those patterns run the show, they reroute them. They might shift their breathing, change their environment, use logic to cool down the fire, or simply go silent until the storm passes. They don't suppress emotions. They master them. They let their feelings inform them, not control them. Most people don't realize how rare this is. Emotional self-regulation is one of the most underrated forms of intelligence, because it's invisible. You don't see it when someone's calmly walking away from drama. You don't notice it when someone chooses silence over rage. But that restraint, that's not weakness. That's mental power in its purest form. Sigma females don't let past wounds decide present choices. They don't let mood swings destroy momentum. When they feel themselves slipping into old emotional code, they shut it down, rewrite the script, and move forward. In real time. Quietly, powerfully, intentionally. That's not just emotional intelligence, that's emotional engineering. And it's one of the most advanced skills a human being can have. Number 8, they see through intelligence theater. Sigma females have a razor-sharp radar for what's real and what's performance, especially when it comes to intelligence. While many are dazzled by fast talkers, academic jargon, or name-dropping thinkers they've barely read, Sigma females aren't impressed. They don't care how many books someone owns, how many degrees they have, or how often they toss around words like existentialism or epistemological. If it doesn't translate into clarity, wisdom, or meaningful insight, it's noise, and they cut right through it. This is why faux intellectuals often feel exposed or uncomfortable around Sigma females. They sense that their polished facade isn't working. Sigma females don't need to debate you. They'll just watch you implode under your own pretension. Because while others are blinded by big vocabulary and pseudo-deep quotes, she's asking, is this coming from understanding or just ego in a turtleneck? She sees through it all, the overcompensating, the insecurity disguised as arrogance, the desperate need to be the smartest one in the room. She's fluent in subtlety, and intellectual inflation doesn't survive in her presence. She can feel when someone is reciting a concept they've memorized but never internalized, and instead of challenging them outright, she'll usually let the silence do the work. Let them keep talking. They'll reveal themselves soon enough. What makes her intelligence so potent is that it doesn't need validation. She doesn't have to prove she's smart by talking over people or constantly correcting them. She asks precise questions. She listens. She responds only when there's something worth responding to. And when she does speak, her words land. They carry weight, not fluff. In a world obsessed with looking smart, Sigma females value being smart. Quietly, authentically, and without performance. And that makes them dangerous in rooms full of intellectual actors, because she's the one person who sees the script, sees the cracks, and never claps at the end. Number 9. They master the art of energetic economy. Sigma females are ruthless with their energy, not because they're cold, but because they know it's limited, and they treat it like currency. Every decision they make, every person they engage with, every thought they entertain has to pass through one filter. Is this worth my mental bandwidth? If the answer is no, they withdraw. Instantly. No explanation, no apology, no debate. While most people burn themselves out trying to be everywhere, please everyone, and respond to everything, Sigma females conserve their energy like elite strategists. They understand that not all battles are worth fighting, not all conversations are worth continuing, and not all people deserve access to their inner world. This isn't arrogance, it's precision. It's knowing that clarity, peace, and progress all require focus, and focus can't survive in chaos. You'll rarely catch a Sigma female arguing online, chasing clout, or entertaining pointless drama. She knows that just because someone invites her into chaos doesn't mean she has to RSVP. Her intelligence shows not only in what she engages with, but especially in what she refuses to. Surface-level debates that go nowhere? Gone? People who drain her with empty talk and emotional instability? Cut off? Trends? Gossip? Meaningless stimulation? muted. If it doesn't contribute to her evolution, it's a distraction, and she leaves it behind. This energetic economy also shows up in how she thinks. She doesn't overanalyze what doesn't matter. She doesn't spiral about things outside her control. She doesn't obsess over people's opinions. Why? Because she knows the cost. Every time you spend energy on something trivial, you rob yourself of what you could have invested in something transformative. Strategic disengagement is one of the highest forms of intelligence, and Sigma females have mastered it. While the world runs on constant stimulation and emotional overdrive, she moves differently, quiet, selective, calculated. And because of that, her energy hits harder, lasts longer, and creates more impact, simply because she chose to protect it. Number 10. They self-educate in secret. Most people can't resist the urge to show off what they're learning. Whether it's posting every book they read, quoting half-digested ideas, or constantly signaling how deep they are becoming. But Sigma females move in silence. They don't need anyone to clap for their curiosity. When they decide to learn something, they disappear. Not physically, energetically. They retreat into their own world, away from noise and distractions, and obsess until they fully understand what they're after. This is what makes their intelligence so different. It's not performative. It's not for approval. It's not to flex on anyone. They study to sharpen their mind, to uncover truth, to build a private arsenal of knowledge that no one even knows they have. You won't hear them talking about the course they're taking or the philosopher they're reading. Not because they're hiding it, but because they don't need the applause that most people chase. When they return from that silent phase, they don't come back with half-baked theories or borrowed opinions. They come back with mastery, with deep lived understanding, with insights that feel like they came from another dimension. And the best part, they'll still downplay it, because they don't need to be seen as smart. They are smart, quietly, completely, without spectacle. Sigma females treat learning like a sacred act. They study everything from human behavior to obscure knowledge systems, not to become someone else, but to become more of themselves. Their curiosity is weaponized. It's deep, it's self-directed, and it's relentless. While others are busy broadcasting their journey, Sigma females are already 10 steps ahead, mastering things in the shadows, building mental empires with no audience. By the time the world realizes what she knows, she's already moved on to the next level, because for her, intelligence isn't about being seen, it's about being free. Number 11. They don't multitask. They monofocus with violence. Sigma females don't believe in doing a little bit of everything. They aren't trying to balance 10 things at once or juggle priorities just to feel productive. When they lock onto something, everything else disappears. Their focus becomes so sharp, so intense, it can almost feel aggressive. This isn't being productive. This is obsession with precision. It's commitment at a level that unnerves people who are used to distraction. Multitasking is glorified in today's world, but Sigma females know the truth. It fragments your power. It scatters your attention, dilutes your results, and breeds mediocrity. So they reject it entirely. Instead, they give everything to the one thing that matters in that moment. Whether it's mastering a new skill, solving a problem, building a project, or understanding something that's been haunting them mentally. They don't dabble. They dig. This is why they often vanish when they're in creation or transformation mode. Friends might not hear from them for weeks. Messages go unanswered. Invitations are declined. And no, it's not personal. It's tactical. They're busy in the lab of their own mind, perfecting something the world doesn't even know they're working on. That level of discipline isn't for show. It's for depth. Their intelligence shows in their ability to cut out noise without guilt. They know that mastery requires sacrifice, that becoming exceptional at anything means saying no to almost everything. So they don't apologize for being unavailable, hard to reach, or socially detached when they're locked in. That isolation, that tunnel vision, that's where their genius is forged. People often wonder how Sigma females become so skilled, insightful, or evolved. The answer isn't magic, it's violent monofocus. It's making the hard choice to go deep where others skim. It's building something quietly while the world is too busy multitasking its potential away. And when they resurface, the results speak for themselves. Always. Number 12. They can hold paradoxes without breaking. Most people need things to be clear-cut. Good or bad, right or wrong, yes or no. When life throws complexity at them, they either shut down or oversimplify to feel safe. But Sigma females don't panic in the gray. They operate in it. They understand that real intelligence isn't about forcing everything into neat categories. It's about being able to hold contradictions without needing them to collapse into certainty. Sigma females can sit with conflicting emotions, opposing ideas, and moral ambiguity without losing their center. They don't need instant answers or forced clarity to feel stable. They know that life is layered, messy, and sometimes completely irrational. And instead of reacting, they observe. This ability to stay calm in the mental storm is what gives them such a powerful edge. They can love someone deeply and still know they need to walk away. They can believe in something while questioning it at the same time. They can see both sides of an argument, not to be indecisive, but because they genuinely understand that most truths are situational, fluid, and multifaceted. This level of thinking isn't just rare. It's exhausting for people who crave black and white logic. But for Sigma females, it's normal. It's where they do their best thinking. This is why others often misunderstand them. People label them as mysterious, complicated, or hard to read, not realizing they're just functioning on a higher cognitive frequency. While others rush to resolve tension, Sigma females sit with it. They mine insight from discomfort. They don't need everything to make sense immediately, because they know it will eventually, and probably in ways others will never even notice. Holding paradoxes without breaking isn't just emotional strength. It's a form of quantum intelligence. It's the ability to hold multiple truths in one hand and still move forward with clarity. That's not confusion. That's brilliance. The intelligence of a Sigma female isn't loud, obvious, or theatrical. It's deep, strategic, and often invisible to the untrained eye. She doesn't compete to prove she's smart because her intelligence isn't driven by ego. It's driven by clarity, purpose, and precision. While the world chases trends, validation, and noise, she chooses silence, mastery, and impact. She doesn't just think, she observes, dissects, decodes, and makes decisions that stretch beyond the moment. Whether it's rewiring her emotional responses, withdrawing her energy to make a statement, or immersing herself in private study while everyone else is busy performing, every move she makes is intentional, calculated, rare. And that's what makes her brilliance so extraordinary. It's not built on what the world teaches. It's built on what she teaches herself. It's not shaped by systems. It subverts them. It's not the kind of intelligence you measure with grades or credentials. It's the kind that makes her dangerous to illusions, immune to manipulation, and completely impossible to replicate. So, if you've ever felt like your intelligence doesn't quite fit into conventional boxes, if your quiet mind feels sharp, your solitude feels sacred, and your instincts feel 5 steps ahead, then maybe it's because you're wired like a Sigma. And if that's the case, protect that mind of yours. Build with it, trust it. Because in a world full of noise and mimicry, the rarest kind of genius is the one that moves in silence and still changes everything. If this resonated with you, don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share this with someone whose mind works like yours. This is just the beginning. And trust me, there's so much more beneath the surface. If this video spoke to you, if it cracked something open, challenged how you see intelligence, or reminded you that there are people out there who think and move like you, then don't just scroll away in silence. Hit that subscribe button and become part of a community that doesn't settle for surface level. Like this video if you felt seen. Drop a comment if something hit different. And if you know someone who needs to hear this, someone who moves in silence, who thinks deeply, who's quietly building something no one sees yet, share it with them. This channel isn't for the performative, it's for the real ones. For those who think differently, observe deeply, and move with purpose. Welcome to your tribe. Now let's keep going. Deeper, sharper, smarter.